Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Adidas Speedex 18 boxing shoes. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Adidas Speedex 18 boxing shoes. Got mine in the royal blue, white and red colorway, size 11. The great thing about this particular model is that it comes in both whole and half sizes. So if you're a half size like me, I usually get a size 10 and a half when it comes to shoes. You can get that half size, or if you have wider feet, you can go half size up. So I decided to go with the size 11. Because typically when it comes to boxing shoes, if you have wide feet, they usually run really snug. So a lot of guys end up going half size up or whole size up, just depending on how wide their foot is. With that being said, I was pleasantly surprised on how comfortable these shoes were, even for my wide feet. I was kind of skeptical and a little worried when I purchased these, just based on some past experiences with some other Adidas boxing shoes I've used in the past that were just too narrow. And felt okay when I put them on, but after a couple of minutes, 15-20 minutes of using them, whether it was like shadow boxing, any kind of like lateral shifty kind of movement, I started getting some discomfort, especially on the edges of my feet. And that's really the test, is when you start moving around in the shoe and you start getting in the ring, maybe you're shadow boxing, you're doing lateral movement, and you're making a lot of those rapid movements, the front and the back, side to side movements. That's when you're really going to feel whether or not the shoe is comfortable for you. I mean, even with jump roping, it might even feel comfortable while you're jump roping, because you're really just kind of going up and down on the balls of your feet. So you're really not testing that lateral stability and the lateral comfort of the shoe. But I was pleasantly surprised. So we'll dig into that here a little bit more. You have several colorways to choose from, like this royal blue, white and red. They also have a white and a black, black and a white, and a couple others you guys can check out. These retail anywhere between $120 to $150, depending on the colorway, as well as depending on where you purchase these shoes from, because there's multiple vendors that sell this shoe. I would consider the shoe to be a mid-rise shoe. It's not a high top or a low top. It's right in the middle, and that's kind of the sweet spot for the vast majority of boxing shoes. Because it's high enough to give you the ankle support that you're looking for and get that nice snug locked in feel, but it's not too high to where it's like an inconvenience for putting the shoes on, or not too low to where the ankle support's not high enough and you end up rolling your ankle. So a couple of features of the shoe. First things first is that the shoe is manufactured in China, and you can see it's a very attractive looking shoe. It uses a mesh upper with some polyurethane inserts as well. You also have these long flat laces. I'm a big fan of these flat laces because when you go through and you pull this through on the lacing system, so the three top laces right here, or the top eyelets, you can see are kind of angled upwards. So a lot of smart design cues are used in the shoe when they were thinking about, okay, when the boxer's putting these shoes on, how could I make it easier for them to just put these on and get to work? So I love the fact that they use kind of this angled vertical lace system up top. You also have the connected tongue that has that little belt right there, so that the laces stay down onto the tongue. The tongue is actually connected to the inside of the shoe using elastics right there. So you can see it has an elastic strap that connects, so the tongue doesn't come completely disconnected from the shoe, and it kind of keeps its shape. Sometimes you have tongues that are in the shoe and they're not connected to the frame of the upper, and it ends up just kind of continuing to fall into the shoe. So I definitely like the lace-up system that they use here. You have your standard holes that they go through. Each hole that the laces go through is actually reinforced. So you can see it's not just poking right through the mesh upper. They actually have a flat reinforced piece that the lace pokes through, which is really nice, because that's where you're gonna get a lot of the force and tension when you pull on the laces. The end of the laces have these metal caps, these metal tips is really nice too, an added touch right there. The tongue itself says Adidas in red. It's also padded. So the tongue has, I'd say, about 1/8 of an inch of nice medium density padding right there, as well as these little wings, I call it the crowns, that come up. And when you put the shoes on, these little winglets right here actually go around the top part of your foot and really locks your foot in and gives it a nice comfortable feel. So you put that on, it locks it in. The upper crown of the shoe has like this little felt strip right here that I'd say again is maybe like 1/8 of an inch right there. And then you also have the heel pull on the back of the shoe. You can either use this to hang your shoes up or whatnot. But when you're sliding the shoe on, you have this heel pull to help pull and drop your heel into the heel cup. Really nice heel cup on the back of the shoe right there. That is really nice and hard, gives you that nice reinforcement. The other great thing about the shoe is when you look inside, where the heel cup is at on the inside of the shoe, it has, I'd say maybe a 1/2 inch of, almost feels like memory foam. And that is super comfortable. So when you slide your feet into the shoe, it just feels like a pillow around your foot. Again, I was really surprised on how comfortable these shoes were. And I feel like Adidas did a great job of adding little comfort features into boxing shoes that you typically don't see. A lot of times, boxing shoes are pretty cut and dry. You know, it's the sole, the outsole, the midsole, the upper, a thin layer of the actual insole insert in the inside, and that's really it. Not a lot of technology built into it, but Adidas has really stepped their game up with that. The insole on the inside isn't removable. Technically, you could remove it, but it's glued down to the bottom. So if you want to put your own custom orthotics in the shoe, you're just gonna have to rip the insole out from the glue on the inside. So do keep that in mind. So you have also these little ribs on the upper, these flex ribs. And what this does is gives you a little bit more of a rigid stability feel, but allows you to have some flexibility when you're moving around. So basically it's like the skeleton of the shoe that keeps the form. And you can see it's right here on the front, almost where the toe box is at, and it kind of runs throughout the shoe. So you have on this section, you obviously have the 3 stripes for the Adidas design. And then you also have some of it right here on the back that kind of keeps the structure of the shoe and doesn't just let it kind of fold over and just flop over. Going to the front of the shoe, you can see that right there. You have the tip of the shoe where the toe is at, and the outsole that rolls up and up towards the toe, which is pretty common in most shoes. You also have this polyurethane toe cap that goes on the front to protect the front of your foot. Just in case you bang it on something, you have some protection right there. Obviously these aren't steel toe boots, so I wouldn't allow anything to drop on your foot because you're gonna get injured. But this front toe cap right there is really good to offer you some front protection of your toes. Again, here is the heel cap, is the same material as on the front. The arch support on here is about medium. I have a medium arch. I don't have high arch and I'm not completely flat footed, but you do have a medium arch right there. If you do need some more arch support or you have a really high arch, then your best bet is to get yourself an aftermarket insole and just drop it in here. So you have that arch support right there. The breathability I want to mention with the shoe is really good as well. I felt like my feet didn't get very hot in these shoes, which is really nice as well. And then the outsole right here. Now this is a pretty common outsole that Adidas uses in their shoe. I believe they're Adidas Zero or Adidas Speed outsole that they use on here. It's made out of rubber and it offers great grip, great for lateral movement, front and back. I wouldn't recommend using these to run in or do any kind of high impact calisthenics or conditioning circuits. And if you do, I would kind of limit it because this sole will grind down pretty quickly. Another thing I really like is that if you are using these outside, there's a couple of times I got a couple of rocks stuck inside these little hexagon holes. So do be mindful of that. I mean, that's not a very common issue. It's not like you're going to be running, you know, through a gravel yard or anything like that. But do keep in mind that sometimes little pieces of like debris get stuck in those little holes. Right here, oftentimes you feel like some people, their feet are so wide it kind of bottlenecks right here in the middle of the shoe. In the case with these, I did not feel any issues with any pressure in the middle section of my foot. The midsole that they use on here is EVA, so it's a very thick and resilient type of foam that they use even in boxing gloves that really reduces impact. A lot of my favorite gloves, like the Venom Hammers, actually utilizes EVA. I know Rival uses EVA foam in their HD EF Rival bag gloves to absorb a lot of the shock, and that's kind of the same concept with these shoes. So if you're skipping rope, you're doing box jumps or any kind of high impact exercise, Obviously, these aren't going to be comparable to like a training shoe or even like a running shoe that offers maximum cushioning, but the EVA does do its job in terms of alleviating that amount of shock. So overall, with these shoes, I was pleasantly surprised. I love these shoes. They're they're right there with the Adams Boxing ABV series shoes. Those have always been my favorite. I mean, I've used the Tidal Hyperspeed Elites for a long time that were part of my rotation. And again, I just never got a chance to pull the trigger on these Speedex 18s, and I'm happy that I did because they're extremely comfortable. They're easy to put on. They're easy to use. They're not a pain in the butt to slide onto your feet. Excellent support. Great for footwork, movement. And they're very lightweight. They only weigh 11 ounces per shoe, so that's another great thing. They're a fairly lightweight shoe. They look fantastic. I love this royal blue colorway with the white and red. I don't think I've seen anybody at my gym that I go to that has these particular shoes, and if they do, it's not this colorway. So the royal blue is pretty cool. If you are gonna get it, I'd probably get this color just before Adidas decides to discontinue this colorway. I'm pretty sure they will eventually. So, but overall, very satisfied with this shoe, especially for the price point of 120 to 150 bucks. Highly recommended. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Adidas Speedex 18 boxing shoes, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.